Hello Gemini and welcome to my channel GreenLion Goddess Tarot. This is your fortnightly reading for April the 1st through to the 15th. And I was just tuning in for you, Gemini. I kept getting like a sense of celebration coming in. So it was kind of like people partying and celebrating. So it was, and this might be the reason we've got the beautiful Miss Stella here. We've got the Empress has come through. Libra, Taurus, Venus, Pisces. So the Empress brings abundance. Expect a great outcome when the Empress is around. We have the Hermit, Mercury, Virgo, Mercury. So really important to listen to the messages and the wisdom of your body coming in as well. So let's see what else is coming through for you, Gemini. You've got two major arcanas, so there's some big energies coming in. And number 3, Empress, represents... it does represent manifestation as well. And we have, okay, another major arcana, the Star card, Saturn, Uranus, Aquarius is coming in. Wow. Okay. Gosh, no wonder there's celebration. There's abundance. There's wishes coming true. There's wisdom coming in with all of this. So very future focused, a sense of feeling much more hopeful and abundant for the future. But the Hermit energy is an interesting one because this is like the wise old sage energy. And I do feel like there's a sense of what I get is quietude and peace with this Hermit energy. I'm kind of getting, for whatever reason, Tibet is kind of what I'm getting coming in with the Hermit energy, and those little prayer flags that they have, and mountains. So I'm kind of getting, through all of this together, it's a sense of spiritual peace that comes through after having been on a long journey. And from that, in comes the rewards of the Empress, in comes the abundance after having been through that journey and finding a place of quietude and peace. And so therefore you're feeling so much better in terms of feeling guided, feeling like you were guided to this place, even though on the journey to getting there, you didn't know why you were heading there. You just knew you had to get there. And when you got there, when you finally feel like there's a sense of arriving, there's a sense of arriving at a space where you can finally rest and feel at peace, which is actually a really nice energy coming through for you, Gemini. And it's a sense that the things that you find there are unexpected and potentially weren't the reason that you went in the first place. But when you do get there, it's like there is abundance, and it's actually kind of surprisingly abundant. And so it is this lovely sense of, with the Star card, feeling more hopeful for the future, but feeling like this is potentially a wish coming true, even though it's kind of like I didn't necessarily wish for this, but now that I've got it, it feels really good. So that's kind of the energy coming in for you. And with 3 major arcanas, Gemini, that would suggest that this is a big energy, absolutely a big energy coming in. And, we are in, this reading is for April the 1st through to the 14th. So this is the heart of Aries season. And Aries is a very masculine energy. It's a fire sign. And that's actually very complementary energy with the Gemini energy of air, which is also a masculine energy. And so the two, they actually... in astrology, the placement would be a sextile, which is that they both complement each other and help each other out. So Aries season's going, Gemini, my friend, you're here. Let me help you and show you the gifts. And what they're showing me is like a table laden with offerings. So, and a lot of this is kind of food for whatever reason, but that's kind of, doesn't have to literally be food, but I was just seeing offerings and abundance. So we've got the Knight of Cups coming in. So Gemini, I just want to say before we move on that this reading is for Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising. And I always recommend, if you know where your big three placements are, your Moon sign, your Rising sign and your Sun sign, obviously, to watch all 3 of your placements, because it kind of fills out the picture. They'll all be slightly different. It will give you a more holistic view of what's going on for you. And Gemini, wow, crossed by the Star card. There is a sense that, this is a general reading, and I just, this Star card's talking to me. I'm trying to say something. This is a general reading Just take what feels right, leave the rest. And if it does really resonate, there will be an extended reading. The link for that is in the description box below. And also just letting you know that I've opened up for personal readings. So the link for that is also in the description box below. My goodness, the Seven of Cups. So it's almost like, I feel like it's like you went on this unknown journey and you didn't quite know where all of this was going. And it was almost like to the point where you had given up hope, that you reach a destination and it's surprisingly good. You reach a place or a state of being where you're like, okay, I'm happy here. So there is a real sense of peace inside your soul, a sense of wisdom gained through experience and trust. So let's get to, this is all very metaphorical, and Four of Swords. Okay. This is a real Gemini energy, actually. I love the Four of Swords because it is going deep. And we kind of have gone deep with this because the Four of Swords is talking about the stories that you've been telling yourself and some things that are going on deep down inside of you. Both this and the Virgo card are connecting to inner wisdom. So there's a lot of wisdom that's been gained through an experience. The Moon card. So the Moon card represents a negative cycle or confusion, fear. We've got the Seven of Swords. And you are presenting as the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, you've presenting as the Wheel of Fortune. There is restrictions around you with the Eight of Swords. It felt like you couldn't see what was happening or where you were going. The Page of Cups. This is kind of messages from your heart. You want some potentially even a surprise offer coming in. And we have as the outcome the Five of Swords. This is kind of interesting because I need to pull another card, and the Page of Swords, and at the base the Queen of Wands. So it's kind of fascinating because it's like you find yourself in a place that you weren't intending to be, you weren't expecting, but you're still happy to be there. You're going, oh, this is actually really good where I am, where I've landed. But it's also understanding that there's been conflict along the way that needs to be made sense of. So let's look at this. We've got the Knight of Cups crossed by the star. So this is where the Knight of Cups is following your heart. It can be romance, romance and, dreaming of something, dreaming of a future direction, or following a path that's kind of your heart is leading you down. So it's taking action on some feelings that you've had. But it's crossed by the star card, which is that the star card is something like it kind of feels a little bit like you're wanting to trust these feelings, you're wanting to listen to your heart and listen to these emotions, but there's something that doesn't feel like it's quite guiding you. It feels like there's a lack of guidance around that. Your heart is kind of wanting to take you somewhere, but it's not feeling quite right for whatever reason, which is kind of interesting. So there's a bit of a conflict between the head and the heart that's coming on here. In your conscious mind, you've got the Seven of Cups, which is kind of like, well, I can't necessarily see exactly where I'm being led or why I'm being led and why I've got these feelings and why I kind of feel like I should be doing something. So let's look at the options. Let's try and formulate this vision of what it is with the Seven of Cups. It can be feeling a little bit kind of lost and confused, but there's a vision forming here inside your conscious mind. So the star card is showing you are being guided, you are where things have been clouded, and you are actually getting that image that you need to see, or you're getting the path and the guidance that you need, which is really important. Interestingly, at the base, we've got the Four of Swords. So this is a card of, and this is what's happening deep within with the Four of Swords. This is very much, at the root of the issue, taking some time out from things that may have been wounding you or have hurt you at some point in your life, and going really deep within and retelling the stories that you've been told and connecting to your inner wisdom. Retreat. It's a place of retreat, a bit like the Hermit energy. It's retreating deep within and connecting into what your mind is telling you. with the Four of Swords, you know, there's been stories and things that you've believed, and it's reworking that. And it can represent a mindset shift. It also represents connecting to wisdom. But this can be meditation, taking a break, taking some time out. So it can be all sorts of things with the Four of Swords. But ultimately, there's a lot going on that you're processing deep down in terms of your belief systems, in terms of where you believe that you were heading, or where you believe something was heading. And it's kind of like heart might be saying one thing, head needs to kind of make sense of something else. It's kind of like trying to form this vision to make sense of where the next direction, or the direction of where. I do feel like this is, you know, potentially could be related to a relationship as well. In the recent past, we've got the moon. But it can be direction, just direction in general, because it's kind of clouded. That's the thing. And that's what the moon does. The moon clouds things so that you can't necessarily see things clearly. It brings up old patterns. It brings up old cycles. It brings up subconscious patterning. So the moon card can be a time of fear and confusion. It could have actually been, for some of you, you might have actually been, for some of you, this is random. I'm just getting some of you got a new dog. So that kind of just came in out of the blue, but the moon card could represent that. So in the near future, we've got the Seven of Swords. So this is where you're getting a bit of a clearer picture. You know, the sevens all represent, the Seven of Cups and the Seven of Swords represent an evaluation or an assessment energy of where you're going, what are your options, what are you thinking? And the Seven of Swords is kind of, you know, wanting to, it's like you've got one step that you're able to move forward. You're able to move one step forward, but and you're leaving the cloud, the fog, but you still got one foot in the cloud and the fog. So you're kind of getting yourself mentally out of a state, out of a place of feeling a little bit lost, but you're not fully there yet with the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords does require enacting some kind of plan or using some intelligence or wisdom to kind of move forward. So you're presenting as the Wheel of Fortune, which is really interesting because this is a sense that you yourself are changing. It almost feels like there's something that is fated and shifting and changing within you that you almost have no control over. So the Wheel of Fortune represents expansion. So there is a sense that as like on an internal level, as like a human being having this experience in this world, or a spirit in a human being's body, there's a sense of expansion. So this is Jupiter wanting to bring in expansion of yourself, expansion of inner knowledge. And we're seeing that here with this Hermit and Four of Swords energy that's coming through. So what's kind of interesting about the expansion of the mind and that higher learning and the knowledge is the energy around you is the Eight of Swords, which is limited thinking, limitations around you. And so this is where you might even be seeing other people who are limited in the way that they're thinking. So it may even be that what you're searching for is beyond what is in your immediate environment at this moment in time. So it kind of, you know, if you're searching for something and it's just not there, it's having to look further afield. So the Eight of Swords represents restrictions inside your mind. This could be something that, I do feel like there's a sense of not being able to see. And this Eight of Swords character can't see, you know, the binds are around the character's head, but it can easily, they're not tied up pretty strongly, it can easily break free of this. So it's just something inside your mind or someone else's mind that's kind of tripping them up or tripping you up, which is kind of stopping you from moving forward into this. So it's kind of interesting with the Page of Cups energy. This is messages coming in from your heart. You're kind of like, I want a clear message. I'm kind of getting this confused energy coming in. And the Page of Cups is like, surprise me. So maybe it's like, you just want a message that is clear. with the Page of Cups. So interestingly, as an outcome, we've got the Five of Swords and the Page of Swords. So the Five of Swords is that I think that there's there's a part of you that's wanting to be free mentally and move forward. There's a part of you that's feeling restricted with the Eight of Swords, and this can create conflict with the Five of Swords inside your mind. There's something you're conflicted about the direction that you're heading in for whatever reason, but the Page of Swords is get more information, be open, because there's information coming to you. You are being very strongly guided. It just might not feel like it at this moment in time. So it's kind of interesting because at the beginning of the reading, it showed me a place that you've arrived in a destination, but you didn't know how you got there, or you didn't even know that that was where you wanted to go. And I think, what they were showing me, because we've got the Star card does represent the future, I was shown a future vision of that, but I don't think you're quite there yet. And so even though there might be parts of you that feel lost around this, it is saying that there are these kind of channels, like these channels of information coming to you, that even though they don't necessarily provide the full picture just yet, there is a sense that it's coming. And so you are being led, but it's kind of feels a little bit like you being led blindfolded somewhere. So it's just saying be open, because there is information. Like I said, there's these lines of communication coming in that Spirit wants you to be open to, and it is coming in through your element, the element of air. So it's coming in through your mind, and it's coming in terms of it will be converted into wisdom. So this Page of Swords is kind of, really interesting energy. And it's kind of, the Empress wants to bring abundance to you. And it's kind of like at this moment in time, I have this sense that there's fate. I have a sense of fate. I have a sense that I'm shifting and changing, but I don't know exactly where or what to. So it's kind of interesting because you've also got the Queen of Wands here as an overall energy. And this is kind of like, the Queen of Wands is around knowing what it is that you want deep down inside and then attracting that. And so if you don't know exactly what that is, then it might feel like you're attracting confusion or contracting a fog of some sort where you feel like you can't see the path. And it was kind of interesting this morning on my morning walk. I walked up the driveway. We've got quite a long driveway and we live on top of a hill, and it was all foggy. Couldn't see a thing. Was going up this path, couldn't see past around the corner, and the light was coming through, shining through. So there were these beautiful beams of light through the fog. And I was kind of thinking, you know what? I'm excited to walk into that fog, into the unknown. But I would be thinking that maybe some other people might find it disconcerting as well. And that's kind of the image that they're showing me, is that it's like there is a sense that you're walking into something that could be really, really good for you, but you can't see exactly what this is. And with the Empress bringing the abundance, and the Queen of Wands is saying to be really open to what it is that you think that you want, but at the same time it's really hard because you don't know what you want. So it's kind of like a funny energy here that's coming through with all of this. But ultimately, because you're crowned by the Empress and the Hermit and the Star card, it's saying and that original vision that I was getting of Tibet and being on top of the mountains, probably somewhere near the Himalayas, there was this sense of peace having reached there. So it's kind of like they showed me the destination and they showed me where you're at now, but they don't necessarily connect the dots between how you're going to get there. And so that's kind of really interesting. And that's also what they're saying is the lesson of manifestation. Okay, so it's a very highly, because you are being crowned by the Empress, she represents abundance and manifestation. The Queen of Wands is like the manifesting, really, really good at manifestation, because she's kind of operating at this frequency, and it's not gender specific, but the energy is around operating at a frequency that attracts what you want to you. And so it's kind of saying, put it out there, what it is that you want, and then let go of the how. and just remain open. So yeah, kind of interesting reading for you, Gemini. Really interesting reading. So let's pull an affirmation card for you. It says, I love my body. I create peacefulness in my mind, and my body reflects this peacefulness as perfect health. And that makes a lot of sense, because creating peacefulness in your mind is this, the Four of Swords at the base, and the body reflecting the peacefulness is the Hermit energy. So yeah, really interesting. I think that this energy is going to have a really positive effect on your health, or can, absolutely. This one says, I prosper wherever I turn. Okay, so it says, I now see opportunities for abundance everywhere. I am blessed and prospered. And it's kind of interesting because, the Empress does represent abundance, and it's kind of saying it is everywhere. You just be open to it. Be open to it. So yeah, interesting, very, very interesting reading coming in for you here. And yeah, very interesting, very different, Gemini. Okay, let's see. Let's pull a charm for you. We have the cat and the little, it's kind of like a cross. It can be a peace symbol if you turn it around the other way. This is interesting because the cats represent, what I'm getting with the kind of almost religious imagery, it's like a cross. There's been a cross to bear, and there's even a martyrdom or a martyrish energy around this. And it is around having faith in where you're being guided. But the cat is kind of really interesting because it's kind of like very independent energy. It's like trusting. It's a very psychic energy for a start. So you might actually have some very interesting psychic moments. There could be some, this connecting to spirit, connecting to where you're being directed, but also connecting highly to your psychic intuition that's coming through as well. The other thing I get with this is that cats do things on their own terms. They make their own, they answer to themselves. They're master of themselves, and they are empowered. It's like an empowered energy. And they also, kind of look after their own needs. So they have like some fairly, where it's the opposite of this kind of martyrdish energy of like kind of like the cross, kind of Christ on the cross energy of the other symbol, where it's like you're kind of self-sacrificing your needs for somebody else. And it's kind of interestingly finding that balance between the two in terms of relationships. That's something that's coming in, which is kind of interesting. It wasn't even in this reading, but that's what's coming through. But ultimately, it's around, following that faith. It's kind of interesting as we look at the Empress card, it actually has a cross and on it as well. So it's almost like totemic. It's like a totem, and to find your own relationship with this totem that is connecting you, the earth, to spirit, and where that is connecting you, how that is guiding you. So it even like speaks of ritual as well, like of just like coming into creating a few little interesting rituals in your life, which can help you connect into this hermit energy and find the space to feel like you can find the clarity. So there's quite a few things coming in for you, like maybe a few little interesting practices you could go down the path of exploring, Gemini. So yeah, interesting reading coming in for you. So we're going to leave it here. I'm going to take it over to the extended reading now. We're going to look at what's coming in the near future and the future beyond. And yeah, you're very much kind of getting that there's an opportunity to manifest, but there's some things inside your mind that still are being worked out, and to be open to what is coming in, what information is coming in. And the Empress actually promises abundance, and with the Wheel of Fortune, it's saying something fated is about to shift and change. So we'll see where this is all going, because that's not necessarily in this reading right this minute. It's kind of like a promise of it, but it might not necessarily, like we need to kind of know where this is going. So that's all going to be in the extended reading, and we're also going to look at career, money, love and relationships and focus in on those 3 areas and just kind of get some specific messages around that. So that's all in the extended reading. Love it if you come over, Gemini. I'll usually pin the link to the comments as well. And yeah, if this is where we're leaving each other, please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, because that lets YouTube know that you support this channel and the content that's being made and helps with the growth of the channel. So take care, Gemini. And yeah, it's really quite a fascinating energy. It feels like there's an interlocking of overlapping of timelines is probably the best word. So it's kind of like the past, the present, and the future is all like blur in this reading, but it's kind of like certain parts of it have not been revealed yet. So kind of interesting. All right, that's it. Look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.